Well, welcome back. Parents, this next interview is for you. We're talking about the Parent's Pocket Guide to Surviving the Preschool Years with the book's author, Danielle Lindner. Thank you so much for being here, Danielle.
Thank you for having me.
I understand that you have some kids here, so you are no stranger to bringing up some preschoolers.
Yes.
So did this book come from lived experiences?
It really did. So I started a preschool 14 years ago when I had very little children. They're older now. And I spent a lot of time actually writing books for the preschoolers to address issues they had, like being nervous about, getting new glasses or having separation anxiety. And then after coaching so many parents through those years, I realized I really should put all these kind of tips in one book, because those years, the 18-month to 5-year-old, early education years, they're really important. And a lot of parents are really scared. They think they're the only ones that have a biter or a child that doesn't share or a child with separation anxiety, and they're not.
Yeah, and everyone jokes that parenting is for those who've never done it before, right?
Right.
I mean, we're all learning life as we go. So that said, you've coined this term here. It's called trickle-down education.
Yes.
What does that mean for the average parent?
For me, it means that to every child, their parent is their superhero, and they will emulate what they see their parent do. So if a parent is rude to a server, or they don't have good conflict resolution at home, if a husband and wife are always constantly fighting, and then they'll go to the preschool and they'll say, why is my child rude? Why is my child fighting? Why doesn't my child share? And I often say, well, look to yourself. What's happening at home? And what you do is really trickling down to them. And so that's why I said it's trickle-down education, because they really are learning from what they're seeing.
Yeah, and no one wants to mess their kid up. So
exactly.
I bet that can be a little difficult, taking a hard look in the mirror saying, maybe I should hold myself accountable here.
Right.
So what's the number one thing that parents need to ask a prospective preschool as they're considering where to put their kids?
I think the first thing is to make sure that it's a licensed program by the state that they're in. And second, ask what their behavior management techniques are. How do they feel about managing children? Are there teachers on the floor with the children? Is it a warm environment? Do they use positive discipline rather than negative discipline? And I always say, you can always catch a child doing something bad, but it's so much more effective to catch a child doing something good. And it has the same effect. So if you have a child with a behavior issue, maybe let it go for a minute, and when you see them doing something for even 3 seconds that's right, praise them and keep doing that. And if you have a preschool that has that sort of mentality and that positive approach to education, I think you'll probably have a good choice. And make sure you feel good there when you walk in.
Yeah, vibes are everything.
Yeah, vibes are everything.
Well, you sound like someone who was really into the psychology of things. I can't help but ask, how did you get this much knowledge in this besides having your own kids?
Well, I started a preschool 14 years ago. Before that, I was an elementary educator. I taught kindergarten. And through the years, I just, spent so much time with so many children and realized that children are different. Every child is different. Don't compare children. Just look at how if you have a child with a learning difference, change the way you're teaching them. Change your philosophy. You don't need to change the child. Change your approach. Primarily, children are good, sweet, wonderful kids, and we just have to embrace that. And the parenting style that I think works best for teachers and parents is an adaptive approach. Maybe there's not one approach that works for every parent, not one approach that works for every child. And, there are many different schools of thought about, the permissive parent, the calming parent. I think you kind of have to have a microcosm. You have to sort of see
figure
what
out
works.
what's best
Yeah,
for you and your
exactly,
family.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you are just a wealth of information. We really appreciate your time being here. Danielle has tons of other tips for you if you wanted to get some more information. She talks about tough topics such as how to talk about active shooter situations with your young kids. You can find all of that information inside of her book. And you can keep up with Danielle on her website and Instagram. All the information is on your screen. Her book, Parents' Pocket Guide to Surviving the Preschool Years, One Challenge at a Time, is available for purchase.